So these guys invented the 3-point safety belt system and are well known to be the safest car brand on the road. This is decade by decade everything you need to know about the Volvo. But before we get into this, make sure you click on the subscribe button and turn the notification bell on to make sure you get reminded every single time we release a new video. So let's get into this. Initially, Volvo produced rugged-looking open-top and cabriolet versions of the OV4 and PV4 Jacob models. Now these sold well because they were constructed to withstand the harsh Swedish climate. Because Volvo's standard of quality was high, sales were slow and profit margins were slim, which led their investor SKF to tell Assar Gabrielsen and Gustav Larsson that they want to pull the plug. Gabrielsen then brokered the deal with SKF, promising them that they'd be profitable in under a year. So they went with it and he delivered. In 1928, they beefed up the power by adding a 6-cylinder engine and took the cars out to compete in the 1928 Swedish Winter Rally. For a short while, Volvo followed the trend for streamlining and pushed ahead with the Carioca. It bombed, but its chassis laid the groundwork for Volvo's first mass-produced car. The PV51 was introduced in 1936, but when Germany invaded Poland in 1939, Volvo feared the worst, but they hadn't taken into account the insatiable demand of the Swedish army. The demand of the military made the war years extremely profitable for the company. Towards the end of the Second World War, the PV444 was introduced. It was an instant success and joined by other successes including the Amazon 120, which gained Volvo a market in the USA. But its most innovative new feature of the PV444 was its safety body. The concept was to create crush zones that would absorb the impact of the crash and protect the occupants even in a rollover accident. In 1959, the Amazon and PV544 were released. They had a new look and featured something that would change the automotive world forever: 3-point safety belt system as standard equipment. Invented by Volvo engineer Niels Bohlin, the 3-point safety belt is considered to be one of the most important life-saving innovations in automotive history. Volvo's first sports car was the P1800 and found fame in the Saint TV series with Roger Moore behind the wheel. The star fell in love with the car when he was shown a picture. Cementing Volvo's position in the family market, in 1964 it launched the Volvo 140, first as a saloon and later as an estate. Other innovations in safety and environmental care were also standout features of the company. These included crumple zones, rear-facing child seats, collapsible steering columns, side collision protection, and 3-way catalytic converter. While the engineers were working on new safety features for the 140, they were also working on the replacement, the 240. Now this had better handling and better protection for the fuel tank. Many thought its modern 2.7 litre capable of meeting increasingly strict environmental standards was its most important new feature. In the 1980s, Volvo's president wanted to push the company into the upper brackets and compete with Mercedes and BMW, and he wished to do so with the new 700 series. They realized that safety had to be combined with style, but that didn't mean that Volvo had turned its back on safety. It started its unique accident investigation team, which investigates thousands of accidents each year, going to scenes, reviewing damage claims, and interviewing people to discover how to help the engineers build safer vehicles. In mid-1991, the Volvo 850 was launched. It was Volvo's first front-wheel drive executive car with a transverse 5-cylinder engine. In the mid-1990s, the market for SUVs were booming, but this had some drawbacks for a company like Volvo because they prided themselves as being perceived as a company that cares. They wanted a car that was environmentally friendly and safe, so Volvo worked to ensure that its new SUV, the XC90, had only marginally higher fuel consumption and emissions than the rest of its cars. But of course, the true test and the most important standard for it was safety. Ford Motor Company bought Volvo in 1999, but profits were always moderate and the company had slipped into debt in every year since 2005. In 2000, Volvo opened its $81 million leading-edge testing facility, which proved once again that it took its obsession with safety seriously. They worked on passenger safety and ways to lower the risk and damage done on other vehicles during collision. While the XC90 was a hit, Volvo couldn't ignore its flagship sedan, the S80. A new version was released in 2004 that the company hoped would show that it knew safety wasn't enough. The company hoped that its new range of enhanced sedans, with its added elegance, luxuries and performance, would appeal to affluent buyers. In late 2010, Ford Motor Company sold Volvo to Geely for $2.8 billion. In July 2017, the automaker announced that beginning in 2019, all of its new models will include an electric motor in their powertrain. In February of 2020, Geely announced that Volvo and Geely might merge businesses. Now, up until now, Volvo was allowed complete autonomy over its resources, so that will change things up a little bit in the future. That concludes this episode of Decade by Decade. If you like this video, please click on the like button and like the page that you saw this on. It will help us a lot. And also subscribe. I mean, if you want to see more of these videos, that's the way to do it.